Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I'm so happy to be here with this cool little light-filled filter over here. So much fun. I've been playing so much with these kind of gadgets, and they're just fun. Fun for a change. So if you are here live, say hello. Let me know that you are here. If you're watching the replay, also let me know that you're here. I love engaging with you guys. I love knowing that you're resonating with what I'm sharing. And this is the second week of the Science of Sacred Interiors, and we're going into the second principle. It's a total of 5 of them. So each week we're going to go in depth into one of them. And this is the second week, like I said, and we're going all into what it means to have your home in, what it means to have your home as a place where your senses are all engaged, and how engaging your senses actually adds to that sacredness that I'm talking about, right? Because as you already know, the approach that we have in this group and in my business and in my design is all about sacredness. It's all about reverence. It's all about worthiness. It's all about beauty from the inside out. And so diving right into what engaging the senses is all about, it's really deeply connected with what it means to have a home, right? And this is actually something that I love talking about, and I also have been working so much with different clients recently. It's one of the first things that they say is, you know, I've been in this house for this much time, or we just bought a brand new house, or I remember growing up and feeling like safe because I had a house. But it's the feeling of home that so many of them are craving. I would say lately, in the last few weeks, it's the first thing that comes out of my clients' mouths is I want my house to feel like home. And so a huge part of that is understanding that home is a space where your whole being is engaged, right? The feeling of home goes beyond what, you know, a pretty fancy or luxury kind of space brings. The feeling of home is about how you feel there. The feeling of home is about smells. It's about comfiness. It's about being welcome into the space. It's about really entering somewhere where you feel like a giant hug is welcoming you, right? That's really what that sense of home is all about when you walk into a house, and it feels really good. And so today we're going to talk about, you know, that what makes a home a real home. And one of the most meaningful activities that people have engaged in for, you know, many years is organizing and creating their home and decorating their home and making their space feel like it's their own. And that's really what this whole thing is about. It's going beyond trends. It's going beyond fashion. It's going beyond these beautiful Pinterest images that we all love, but they are meant to be all a source of inspiration. They're not meant for us to just copy it, because there's so much that is lost when we do that. And so today I'm just going to share with you a couple of tips, a couple of really key points on what that sense engagement is all about within your home, so that you can get that space of well-being, so that you can feel welcomed and engaged and really also awakened. Last week I was also chatting on my Instagram about this kind of like feeling of your home as an altar and your home as a place to support your love relationships. And so we really went into what your home means to you and how it becomes this tangible sort of catalyst to remember your vision for what you want in your life, right? And so that's why we decorate with pictures of people we love. It's why we decorate with things that we travel around the world and we buy, and we, you know, connect to the memories of that. And so typically when we decorate instinctually, when we don't get caught up with how things look, we actually put so much more meaning in our homes than we even think. And it's part of why, even if you walk into your mom's or your grandmother's house, there's almost like that welcoming energy that happens, even if the space isn't perfectly done, because they've put so much intention in decorating. They've put so much love. And so engaging your senses in your home is all about touch. It's all about smell. It's all about even taste, right? And what happens, I've talked about this in my masterclass a lot, is in our society, we've learned so much to detach from connecting with our bodies and from engaging in our senses that we focus only on the aesthetics and the visuals of things, right? We want to be attracted, or we learn to be attracted to things just because of how they look, and even people. And so there's a big part of the picture that we miss there when we are just doing that. There's a big part of the picture when we're trying to decorate our home with just these things that look cool or trendy or whatever, because they're not bringing in the meaning. They're not bringing in all these aspects that engage us. And so what does that look like in a home, right? Engaging all your senses. It's about what your house smells like, paying attention to what kinds of scents you bring into your home. A lot of the trainings that we do around this is all about bringing in clean scents into your home, right? Bringing in candles that are essential oil based, that actually create a sense of well-being and that have aromatherapy benefits, right? Therapeutic benefits to them, but that have to be good, high quality, right? Because on a holistic kind of approach, it's important that we're not bringing in fragrances that are toxic, that are chemicals, that are affecting our hormonal systems, that are affecting so much of our health and our body. And if you are interested in learning more about that, let me know, because I'm happy to share with you some videos I have on that specific topic. But in any case, thinking of what mood you want to create and what kind of atmosphere you want to create for your home, having those scents that are specific for certain moods and certain energies, right? And so if we're talking about aromatherapy, for example, and we want to create a very relaxing sort of environment, and we want to engage that kind of like peaceful message in the brain and in the body, we could use some lavender candles. The same goes for maybe in the morning time, we want to feel a little bit more upbeat, a little bit more energized. Then maybe you can light up a candle with some citrus scents, right? Some orange, some grapefruit, even some peppermint to get some activity and some energy in the body and in the mind, get some focus if there's work you need to do. This is something I use when I work. Like I'll sit down and, tune into what I need. If I need to feel a little bit more calm because maybe I'm stressed out, I'll turn on or light up my candle with lavender oils in it. Or the opposite, if I need a little bit more energy, a little bit more focus, I'll use peppermint or maybe a citrus scent like I mentioned. And so those are really important things to think about, not just about engaging the senses, but also in health. And then other ways in which scent also is important in the home is that it becomes recordings in your memories, right? It becomes part of what you sort of store in the software of your brain that you have access to later on. I think we all can relate to having memories that are triggered by a scent, right? You remember someone, you remember something that happened to you, you remember certain experiences through smell. And so that's something I'm very mindful of when I am, doing any kind of decorating or any kind of setup or styling of a space, or sometimes when I do sacred celebrations at women's venues or homes, where we're really paying attention with what mood and what energy we're trying to create. And so scent is a wonderful way to do that. The other aspect of scent is also food, paying attention to the foods that you're cooking. And I think, again, we also all can relate to what walking into a house with, someone having a pot of soup and how good that smells, right? Or something we do in my house is make chai tea, and we make it out of like fresh spices, and so it smells amazing. And then it also sets a certain structure in your brain that creates rhythm as far as what's going to happen or what is happening when you use certain scents consistently for certain tasks. Meaning, like, I'll make my chai tea with fresh cardamom, fresh clove, which also this sort of time of the year with fall happening, it makes me really want to crave that. Not that we get a whole lot of fall in Florida, but still, it's fall. So cinnamon, cloves, there's pepper in it, cardamom, which is one of my favorites. And so I boil it all. And if you want the recipe, let me know. I'll be happy to share it with you. And I usually make it with almond milk as well and raw honey, and it's delicious. But I make it usually when I'm about to have kirtan, which is something my kids and I do every week, which is chanting, and we just chant all kinds of yogic mantras. But I also do it when I'm teaching someone in my home, or if I'm having a yoga kind of gathering with my children. Sometimes I also make it for our family meetings, if there's anything that we are going to touch base on with each other. And so it inspires a certain memory for my kids, because they'll walk in and they'll know, okay, something's about to happen because my mom's making yogi tea. Like, either any of those things I just mentioned could happen. And so those are the kind of connections that we receive with our house as far as making it our home. And it's really important that we become mindful of that, with the sense of smell in particular. I always light up incenses, like good quality incenses, before I meditate. And so every morning is the first thing I do. I wake up, I light a candle, I light my incense, and I sit down for my meditation practice. And so in my heart and my mind, my hope is that my kids one day will smell that when they're older and remember that this is what I used to do every day. And that's my way to also, as a role model, for them, it's a way for me to just create that consistency of for them to know what it is that I'm doing. And so instead of me lecturing them into meditating, or lecturing them or pushing them into the benefits of it, I'll welcome them into my practice just by the invitation of their smelling it, and they're able to just know, oh, this is what my mom is doing. And so most of the times, if they do smell it, they'll come right over, and they'll just sit next to me and participate, or maybe not, but it awakens that, oh, I know what my mom's doing kind of a feeling, So that's really important about the sense of smell, being aware of sprays in your home. What kinds of things are you spraying in your home? I'm not a fan of any kind of chemical scented sprays or anything like that, or any of those plug-in things. I think that they are actually quite detrimental to our health. And again, if you need more information about that, let me know. But there are alternatives to that, because we also all are so attracted to yummy smells, and that's beautiful. And so there's all kinds of alternatives. You can use diffusers, which I love. And you can just use therapeutic based essential oils. You can also there's also plugins that have that use essential oils instead of those sort of chemically liquids. So those are also really good. I highly recommend that you look into that. Etsy has all kinds of alternatives for that. And so that's what I can think of the most about the sense of scent and the sense of smell in your home, and how important it is for what it is that you're doing, and to create that sort of welcoming environment as well. And then the other senses are also very important. Obviously, visuals are really, really important. It's part of, I think, what really started this whole thing with interior design, right? I think most people have this conception or this thought of interior design being this thing that the rich and the wealthy kind of celebrities had access to, and then we all so much wanted to bring those sort of feelings and replicate those sort of movie sets and that kind of a thing into our home. And that's part of the history of interior design, but obviously we've gone long away from that, and we've brought in so much more access to services of interior design. There's e-design, there's all these trainings and all this access to information on how to do it. But I feel like something that's really, really key that the industry misses a lot is the well-being of a home and how it affects even your psychology. And this is what the senses is really all about. And so focusing on just aesthetics, it's just a really shallow level to be at. It's not enough. It's extremely important. And it obviously is the number one impression you might get from a space you walk into, but it cannot be the only thing we focus on. So from there, if we start decomposing what makes a space feel attractive or look attractive, then we start also seeing that the sense of touch is very important, because when we mix all kinds of textures and elements, and we mix colors and materials, when we mix fabrics, and when we mix, all of those elements that make interior design powerful, there's this desire to just be a part of it, right? We all know the experience of walking into a space where, the furniture is so perfectly clean and modern that you don't even want to sit in it. You don't even want to touch it. It's like you're almost afraid it's going to break or you're going to do something to it. And so having a home that's welcoming, it's really key that we have those fabrics that invite you to just sit down on the couch and hang out with your family, that invite you to, pet your cat, pet your dog. It's really important to have an awareness of how these materials feel. And so for the sense of touch, I love using natural materials, using velvets, using linens, using cottons, anything that feels just comfy and yummy, So that's important about the sense of touch. And then all of the other senses, it's also important to think about what we hear when we are at home. One of the biggest things and the biggest sort of sources of pollution, and sound pollution is so big, is having the TV on all of the time, or having the radio on all of the time, or even all these different pings and notification sort of sounds from our phones, from different apps, alarm systems, all of these different things that also just create a lot of distraction in our home. And so it's definitely really important to think of that and minimize that as much as possible to create that peaceful sort of calm environment. And so with that, I also love using and incorporating music and high vibrational sounds of nature, sounds of mantras, sounds of beautiful lyrics of songs that you love. It's also a really wonderful opportunity to set the mood of how you want to feel. I love playing really soft music at nighttime so that my children sort of get the message that bedtime's coming. Dimming the lights is another big part of creating the environment. We all know what it's like to walk into a really cozy restaurant and it just feels really intimate. So lighting is also a really big part of creating that